The WHO failed in its basic duty to save lives. Those were the words of President Trump as he announced a freeze on funding for the UN agency.
Today I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability.
Trump has repeatedly criticised the WHO throughout the pandemic, this time claiming its bias towards China is responsible for the virus's rapid spread to other parts of the world.
Had the WHO done its job to get medical experts into China to objectively assess the situation on the ground and to call out China's lack of transparency, the outbreak could have been contained at its source with very little death.
Trump says the roughly $400 million in annual donations will now be reappropriated, though he refused to sever America's relationship with the WHO entirely.
We will continue to engage with the WHO to see if it can make meaningful reforms. For the time being, we will redirect global health and directly work with others.
The US is the worst affected country in the world, with more recorded cases and deaths than anywhere else. Trump's handling of the pandemic has also been widely criticised. And his opponents say this latest announcement is nothing more than a deflection tactic.
Well, let's go now to our correspondent, Stefan Simons in Washington, D.C. Stefan, President Trump has halted funding for the World Health Organizations. What reason did he give for this decision, and does he have the authority to actually do that?
Answer number one, he gave a very blatant explanation for this. He basically says, let me quote, that he will halt funding while a review is conducted by his administration, quote, to assess the WHO's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. That's the reason he gave. Now, can he do that? Can he halt the funding? And we're talking about $400 to $500 million every year. Yes, he can. But as you can see in the wording here, he leaves himself a back door. He says he will review the matter. And we thought actually here in Washington, D.C., that this is going to happen because he had alert to this last week already. So here you have it. Review will be conducted by an administration, and the outcome might be maybe that the U.S. is now, as a major funder for the WHO, not paying anymore for or contributing to the WHO's mission.
Well, for now, what will this lack of funding mean for the WHO, which has been spearheading the global response to the coronavirus?
That's a very good question, and I think that's also a part of Trump's calculus here. He's trying to stir the pot. The WHO has now to absolutely do a little math and for the time being trying to skid by without potentially significant US funding. I really actually don't think it's going to come to this in the end, that the US will fully withdraw all funding of the WHO, because the WHO has critical function not just for the US but for the rest of the world. And as soon as you say WHO, pandemics, epidemics, and what the WHO does in its mission, another word for the US critical comes to mind, and that's national security. Anything the WHO does and doesn't do has an impact on national security thoughts and estimates here in the United States for the United States.
Stefan Simons in Washington, D.C., thank you.